Welcome to our Sunday School review on humble faith, focusing on the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector, from Luke chapter 18 verses 9 to 14. This story is about two men, the Pharisee, who embodies prideful self-righteousness, and the tax collector, who embodies humble repentance. Taking a closer look at the Pharisee, we see he stands by himself, thanking God he is not like other people. His character is marked by great confidence in his own righteousness, scorn for others, and a prayer focused entirely on self-exaltation. The Pharisee's prideful prayer highlights his good works. I fast twice a week, and I give you 1/10 of my income. However, a heart full of pride leaves no room for God's grace. In contrast, the tax collector stood at a distance, daring not to look to heaven. He beat his chest and prayed, "O God, be merciful to me, for I am a sinner." True righteousness begins with a heart of humility and repentance. Jesus concludes the parable in Luke chapter 18 verse 14, stating that the tax collector went home justified, not the Pharisee. The key lesson is that those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. God justifies the humble of heart. Let's consider the picture of the two buckets. Pride plus full leaves a bucket overflowing with self. When a vessel is full of its own accomplishments, there is no space for God to pour anything new into it. Humility creates space for God's grace. The modern Pharisee is a quote-quote bucket, filled with social media metrics, building campaigns, and degrees. This water of self-exaltation spills over, useless to those who are truly thirsty. Self-exaltation leaves no room for the living water. The Pharisee's prayer was self-centered. He stood by himself and prayed about himself, isolating himself from others and from God's true perspective. His pride created a chasm between him and divine grace. Self-righteousness is a counterfeit holiness, building a pedestal of personal performance. The trap is being good without God. Building a pedestal of performance leaves no room for grace. The tax collector is the empty vessel. His heart is battered and empty of self-pride, bone dry and cracked, but waiting for God's mercy. True faith begins when we realize our own spiritual emptiness. The tax collector's posture of grace is powerful. He didn't bring a resume to God, he brought a vacuum. By emptying himself of ego, he created the space necessary to receive God's mercy. True humility empties the self to make room for divine mercy. The divine exchange illustrates that grace flows from above. The neon bucket, full of pride, is bypassed. The cracked and empty clay pot, the humble heart, receives the fullness of God. Grace flows where there is room to receive it. The takeaway for leaders is the trap of success, the temptation to start drinking our own supply. When we fill our buckets with titles, we become untouchable to the grace that saved us. Leadership requires the humility to remain a vessel for grace. The heart of humble faith means thinking of yourself less, not less of yourself. It is the quiet confidence that God is the source of all. A humble heart is most attractive to the Spirit of God, for faith begins where self-reliance ends. In conclusion, Luke chapter 18 verse 14 reminds us, "For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." Humility is the gateway to divine exaltation.